But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Gentlemen, it has happened.
Yes, it has.
The long wait is over. Star Wars is now here, but I want more.
Yeah.
I want more.
It left me with a lot of unanswered questions, that's for sure.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
Definitely
I think that was very intentional.
It's just like
They started the hype for the next movie.
They did.
They followed episodes 4's like formula to a T, like something hidden in a droid that needs to be found by the Empire.
Right.
Like a battle station that's gonna blow up something unless they blow it up.
Well, this movie, I think, is everything that we as fans have asked for since, well, let's say it, since episode 6.
Except, okay,
Yeah.
before we get started, this is a total spoiler
Oh,
video.
yeah, absolutely. Everything in here that we're saying is completely spoilery. We're not holding anything back.
Right,
Nope.
so if you've clicked on this
So
video...
if you've picked this up and you haven't seen the movie yet, we're going to spoil it for you. Really, I'm a guy who likes to spoil movies. This one you don't want spoiled for you.
So,
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It
Yeah.
will not it will not have the same impact.
Did
I thought
people
that was
gasp in your
impossible.
movie theater?
A couple times.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Same here.
over a few things.
Yeah.
And we'll get to all of those things, but right now, Brock, we were supposed to do this podcast yesterday.
Yeah, we were.
Why don't you tell me what
So-
happened about that?
I ordered my ticket like 3 months ago or whatever when they went on sale, and I went through Fandango, and I did not read the ticket details well enough. So I accidentally bought a ticket for Friday at midnight, Saturday morning, instead of Thursday at midnight, Friday morning,
Uh-oh.
which is when I was supposed to see it. So I came in on Friday when we were supposed to originally do this podcast, and I was like, but like, at least I didn't wait in the entire line, because like I went up to the little movie thing and like tried to use my card and it wouldn't
Right.
work. So I went up and talked to somebody, and then they looked at my ticket and were like, "Dude, you're not here for the right movie time." And I was
Well,
like,
the thing is, even if you printed off your ticket, they probably would have just ripped it up and gave it back to you just like they did normally. And then you'd
Right.
be like, "Dude, you're in my seat."
exactly. So that was pretty lame, but like I'm kind of glad that I didn't deal with like the very first crowd of everybody who was there. It was cool to see like cosplayers and all that stuff, like people dressed up. Super cool. There was even that last night though.
I'm sure there's
But like I was super disappointed,
we'll ignore you.
and then I also had to avoid the internet for like 24 hours
That's
until
true.
I saw it.
I'm gonna get back to that since I brought in our guest. We have a guest. If this was like a 6 o'clock news broadcast, this would be Matt. Saw the movie last night.
Yep.
Yep. So he also saw it. Matt, say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, there we go. We got that over. Now we're back to it. Brock, you had an interest. Well, you did too, but especially Brock, you had an interesting story which you already told. But I have a question, and my question is, how was it trying to avoid spoilers? Was it hard? Was it easy?
It was pretty easy to avoid spoilers on the internet, and like a lot of websites that I follow on Facebook and other social media things got really pissed if people spoiled stuff in the comments.
Yes.
Like I know Kotaku and like a bunch of people that I follow on YouTube were like banning people, their subscribers, because they were ruining the movie for people
Right.
in the comments. Luckily, I didn't see any of that, so I didn't have anything spoiled for me. But I think that social media like really made an effort to like try to keep people from spoiling things. I don't know if you guys had a similar experience.
What was your
No,
experience? Did
I
you
was
have
at
a problem?
work. I was at
Oh.
work all day, so I didn't have a problem with it.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
No internet there.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get right into the movie. We'll talk about each of the characters. Well, first, how did the movie make you feel just overall? How did you think about it? What did you think? Just
It had a
overall,
lot of the
did it live up to the original trilogy?
It had a lot of the trademarks of a Star Wars film that like make me like Star Wars films, like
Yeah.
quirky dialogue.
Absolutely.
The dialogue between Finn and Rey is hilarious, in my opinion.
Subtle humor.
Yes, I love that Han Solo went back to smuggling. That's so
Yes.
badass of him.
Yes.
And he's just like
Not
smuggling.
only that, but doesn't get just one gangster mad at him, but two at the same time.
Yeah, that's the
one of
total
them
hot.
says, "You owe me twice," and he's like, "Ooh, what?
What
I
was
don't
the
remember the
second
second
time?"
time. What was the second time?" It's
Story
like I
completely
remember the
changes.
first time, but I don't
know.
remember the second time.
It's
He's done it so many times that he
total Han
doesn't
Solo
even remember. I love it.
Total Han Solo
Part
move.
of senility, I think.
But yeah, like the whole movie I loved, but also made me sad
Yes. Why did it make you sad?
because Han
Well-
is my favorite character.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get to why it made you sad. Matt, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was very good. They did it seemed like to me, since they had all these nods to the original trilogy, it kind of seemed like they were kind of dissing the, like episodes 1 through 3.
Prequels.
Yeah, all the prequels. It seemed like they were kind of like saying, no, they're not as good, but we're gonna stick with the original formula because it works and people like that. And there were all these
True.
like if you paid attention, there were so many different nods to, like especially episode 4 and all these original things. That was very satisfying to me.
Super.
I'm one who always said that the prequels only had one redeeming. Well, there were a few redeeming things to them, but really just one
I
that
like episode
really
1
stood
and
out.
3. I just hate episode 2 because of Hayden Christensen.
Well,
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen brings him way down, but I think there was still one huge redeeming factor out of the whole prequels, and that was, and he's right there on your shirt, Ian McGregor
Yeah.
as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He did an incredible job in there, and it's like let's try to raise up the one thing that did go well in Obi-Wan Kenobi and at least mention him in the movie. Yes, we're getting there. Kylo Ren's real name
Right.
is Ben, which is obviously Ben Kenobi, but that's the only homage to
And
Obi-Wan
now
that you
we
have.
know that, it's pretty obvious that Ren is an inverse of Ben.
Right.
Like, as soon as he said Ben, I was like,
he just changed the B to an R. I see what you did there.
Nice.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I did really like it.
I did too. I did
But-
too. But that was probably the only complaint that I had is you have the prequels. Why not try to either they're just trying to distance themselves from it. Why not just try instead of try to
Well,
like
hopefully in the next one,
it's,
I think
it's
we'll
okay.
learn.
Those are there. They're still part of this.
At least bring out
It's
like
like the
good
little
parts of it.
cute little
part.
little
Right.
ugly dog that people bring along just because they feel bad for.
The whole offshoot of the story that happened before the movie that I really wanted to know more about, and I think we'll learn more about in the second one, and this could bring up like the Obi-Wan thing, is like the whole Luke trying to train people in like a new Jedi Academy that failed, and like how all of that went down.
That would be, and I think we're gonna see that.
Right.
Not maybe in the next movie. Maybe Luke will tell stories.
Right.
Maybe there'll be flashbacks or whatever else. But I think Luke's ultimate failure was Kylo Ren himself.
Right, and that's a total like story that they took from the now non-canon novels with Jason and Jaina, the Han Solo and Leia twins that don't exist anymore. But Jason was bad, and he kind of was like Luke's ultimate failure, and Luke like loses a lot of trust in himself because he let somebody follow the dark side.
Right.
And I think that's what happened again. And I think that's why he tried to distance himself from maybe his daughter.
was thinking about that.
I would be
I think it's
surprised.
definitely his daughter.
She's somehow related to all of this. I mean, if you think about it, her parents disappeared. Then she has a flashback to it. It was, if I remember right, Kylo Ren standing there holding her hand as her parents are flying away or something. I don't
There's
remember.
someone
Somebody-
there. I'll
Someone.
have to,
You don't see who it is.
But then she's also
So-
talking about like water with an island in the middle.
Something like that.
Like she,
That
like,
was
the place
that
she
was
goes.
Maz Kanata after she held her hand and she
Yeah.
said an island in the middle of an ocean, and I'm like, you're supposed to be led to think that, Maz Kanata is talking about her. I saw through those. What does Yoda say? I see through your. Anyway, I saw through that, and I'm like, nope, that's where Luke is. He's on an island in the middle
I
of
think
an
it's cool,
ocean.
too, that they
and
said
then when
he-
the Millennium Falcon's flying through at the end, I'm like, yeah, island in the middle of the ocean.
Got it. I think it's interesting too that that's supposed to be the first Jedi temple. Like, what's going on with that? Like,
Yes, that was in the Crawler, I believe. He went to
Right.
the original Jedi, or he went in search of the original Jedi Temple or
Right.
something. So that's interesting. I thought he was going back to Coruscant. So I thought
which
that
got
was the
blown up.
original.
Which is blown up.
Yeah, that was another nod to the original prequels.
There we
Right.
go.
Is they're blowing up Coruscant, which means
With their giant
with
Death
the
Star
original
planet-sized
it's
cannon
like
thing.
you can guarantee that all those planets were Coruscant, Naboo, any of the other planets that they visited in the prequels. That was
Can
the
we talk about
destruction
how
of the
that super
prequels
weapon
right
is
there.
like a 2-tier, like royally screwing whoever you're shooting at, because first you come into their system with that thing and suck the power out of the sun,
And then you blow up
and
their
then
planet.
you blow up everybody with it. So now they don't have a sun.
From a
and they're blown up.
scientific and Neil deGrasse Tyson look of the thing. So they blow up the Star Killer base, and it blows up and turns into another sun.
Pretty
Essentially
much.
changing the shift of gravity in the system from way over there to over here, which means like all of the planets in the system now are like, what do I rotate around now?
Yeah.
So that's that. I mean,
was a
that's
cool
just kind
weapon,
of a interesting. It was a very cool
I liked how
weapon.
it split
Very
off.
practical.
Like how they had multiple targets.
They have
for
like
it.
giant space mirrors or something.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I'm trying to figure out how that
It was
would
like
work.
a curveball.
Yeah.
I think we're just supposed to
Except
be
for,
like,
four
it's,
of them.
Yeah.
it's Star Wars,
Just leave it at that.
and that's it. Well, how did it split off? Did you have giant space mirrors? That's Star Wars. All right, let's get into characters
Okay.
because that's what I really want to talk about, and we'll try to stay like in order of their appearance. So the first major character we see,
Poe.
besides BB-8, is Poe.
I really like Poe.
Excuse me, that came out of nowhere.
I think he's
I
gonna
really
be
like Poe.
he's gonna be the main character in Rogue Squadron too. I think.
Is he really?
I think so.
Yeah.
I've seen him in pictures for that upcoming movie, and that's going to be a movie that takes place before, like, when the Empire's still around, because
Mm-hmm.
Tarkin's supposed to be in that. So I liked him. I thought he
So
was a
we'll
great
probably
character.
see a very young Poe,
And he's a
I would
badass
imagine,
pilot.
in Rogue One. So that's really exciting to see that we'll see a lot of backstory to Poe coming up.
And also, like,
you know,
where did
even
he get
next year.
BB-8, because that thing is like such a random.
BB-8
droid.
is his droid. I never
Right.
saw that coming. I'm like, oh, all right, that's how he gets in the story.
I love
so
how
that
it
was
goes
really
like up
interesting.
into the starfighter, like from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So badass.
Yep.
Because he's a little ball. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep. And then I'm thinking, like, what if, like, a normal R2 unit, like R2D2, tried to get in there? Like, the little
Right.
sucker thing for
I think he must have
BB-8's head
to
is
like
too small.
customize his own fighters to
Yeah,
make
it's
got to
be.
Yeah.
It's got to be. All right. Anything else about Poe Dameron?
Or BB-8.
Oh, well, let's talk about BB-8.
Yeah.
So obviously they're trying to make a character that children connect with. We've tried this before. Mm-hmm. Did it work?
Yeah, but this one doesn't
yes.
talk. That's the best part about it.
The best, I think the best part of it is Bill Hader and one other guy, I can't remember his name, did the voice for
Yeah.
BB-8.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Bill Hader,
man.
like SNL, Stefan,
Yeah.
Bill Hader did the voice for BB, or
I
did
thought
the sound for
reactions,
BB-8.
like the way that BB-8 is shaped and like the way that he could do his reactions, like the head down thing and everything,
Little
was
thumbs up.
perfect. Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
was badass. with the little lighter.
Yep. He's even got the little electroshock thing.
And I love how
I was
Finn
trying
like
to figure out-
convinces him to lie. Like he convinces a robot to lie for him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that.
I was trying to figure out how he was gonna have all these gadgets in it, because you know R2 has all these gadgets like
Yeah.
in his body. It's like it's a ball. How is he gonna? And then he just rolls over to a different side, and just this like thing comes out.
I open up at here at Open Box. We subscribe to Entertainment Weekly. I don't know if you knew that. I have a few.
I read them.
I have a few of them, sitting in the drawer of my desk. And about a month ago, we got the Star Wars edition one, and I read an article about BB-8 itself. And they were talking, I think it was to J.J. Abrams, maybe the designer, whatever else, about BB-8. And there was a big picture of him, and it's like you can see lots of compartments on there,
Yeah.
on the ball. And do you have a function for each one? And the guy they were interviewing was like, no, we'll just kind of discover as we go along.
That's a good way to do it. That's a good way to do it.
They have all these compartments on him.
Sometimes I feel like
And they
that's how
don't know
R2
what
stuff
they
works,
do,
though.
which is the best part.
I feel like sometimes that's how R2's arms work too, because like all of a sudden randomly he'll just like bust out something and you're like, what?
Like the jetpacks and the
The
prequels.
jetpacks
Right,
in the
just-
prequels, the little buzzsaw in episode 6, which I thought was the best weapon. Also the little
He also has, like, a little
electroshock. He can
taser
serve
thing.
drinks.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
Or in Revenge of the Sith, he just all of a sudden busts out like 20 different things simultaneously.
Right.
true.
Like in the Grievous
And just
scene.
freaks out.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about BB-8 was I was sitting in between my mom and my girlfriend, and I think one thing that they were trying to do was like through maybe if you look at a lot of the movies, they have one character that more is like you were saying, well, it's for like kids and maybe women. And so, like you
The
look at the
one that
Ewoks.
has the cute factor.
Yeah, like
to
the
it.
Ewoks, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that the Ewoks are like freaking adorable. So I sitting in between them, definitely, I think they hit that because
Yeah.
every time he came on the screen, I'd hear from one side or both saying, "Oh."
Right.
Yeah.
I think
it's like
he-
a droid dog, like a little puppy.
We'll have to go to a break soon. But I think he is an interesting character because he's on screen. He's not digital at all. They call him more of a puppet than like a
Yeah.
remote control thing. Like obviously there's controls and things going on, but they have essentially a puppeteer doing what he does.
Yeah.
And there was an interview with Daisy Ridley where they were talking to her about it, and she says it's really interesting when he's on set because he's always moving, he's always breathing, he's always doing things, always making noises, all of the other things, and it's really interesting.
You just said the name of the podcast.
I did. I think I fit that in every podcast so far. I'm gonna go to a read, which means I'm gonna have to like twist
All right.
hard. Next, we're gonna talk about Kylo Ren.
Sweet.
How about that? All right. The Other Things podcast is produced at OpenBox Strategies in Brookfield, Wisconsin. OpenBox Strategies is a website, video production, and online marketing firm that delivers fixed-fee, value-based products and never for an hourly fee. Jumpstart your marketing today. Call 262-825-6993 or visit openboxstrategies.com. All right, let's get into this. Kylo Ren, new
Yeah.
villain.
Han and Leia's son,
Han and Leia's son was revealed.
which
Still don't know the origin of his sparky, weird-looking sounding lightsaber.
Yeah, I like the way he uses it though. He uses it like a friggin' Scottish broadsword. Like he just wails. And I also like him throwing his tantrum fits where he just destroys random
I love
shit.
that scene when he just starts going to town
Yeah.
after Rey escapes and the two stormtroopers coming around the corner.
They're
They're
like,
like,
"Eek."
this isn't good, and they just turn around.
Yeah,
Right.
They're just kind of like,
Right.
right. Let's avoid that. guy.
And also with him and I can't remember the general's name, but the
Hux.
main General Hux. Yes, thank you. Where he's sitting there at the controls and he says something like, "We lost him," and he goes to town. He just goes nuts on the control panel. He kind of stops, turns it off, puts it away. Is there anything else? It's
yeah,
like, he's psychotic.
yeah, he's a little creepy in that way. Like his voice, especially, it's got like the Darth Vader feel to it because it's like mechanical.
It does, and it's you're right. It's very mechanical. I accidentally made my voice sound like that.
Yeah.
Like not today, but before, which is I'll have to find whatever compressor they used.
It
so.
reminded me kind of the Bane voice.
A little bit.
Because it's got that like higher tin
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. But certainly a very menacing character. Adam Driver knocked it out of the park. I
Yeah, he
think.
did a good job.
Even with the mask on, he was really good. And I
His
like the
walk
scene
is very
where
particular.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, he's got a stride.
He does.
It almost looks awkward, but somehow not.
Right. I hear what you're saying.
I think one difference between him and Darth Vader is Darth Vader was always like a foot taller than everyone else.
Yeah.
And just kind of like glided across places, especially with his cape. I don't think Kylo Ren has that. He's a lot smaller, but he's got this like menacing feel to him, but he's still a lot smaller.
Well, I think the pinnacle of Darth Vader was at the end of Empire Strikes Back, where, they're chasing the Millennium Falcon with the Eclipse, I think, the Super Star Destroyer. And the Millennium Falcon goes to light speed. It's gone. And he just kind of stands there, looks where the Millennium Falcon was, turns around and walks away. And it's like, oh, he's pissed.
Yeah, he didn't even have to say
Oh,
anything.
he's pissed. And everyone's just, oh.
Yeah.
And it was just, he didn't have to say anything. He didn't go hacking at people. He didn't go choking people. He didn't do anything. He just kept his calm, turned around, and walked away.
That's the
But
other
we
thing,
just see a
too.
psychotic Kylo Ren, which is just nuts.
Yeah. I think that too, like, it's a good thing to remember that, like, they said that his training is unfinished. So
Yes.
he's kind of like an apprentice at this point, just like a really powerful one, because I'm sure he has natural abilities in the Force because of who his
Yes.
parents are.
Yes.
But then also, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like somehow Kylo knows about Rey.
You think so?
I think so, because every time he says a girl, what girl? You know what I mean? Like, he knows that there's another Force sensitive. Now he definitely knows because he fought her.
He fought her.
And I think now he'll become even more like Darth Vader because he's hurt. He's really wounded. So I think that they're going to rebuild him
I think he's especially
cybernetic style.
right. I think he's especially interested in her now because, especially when he was trying to get the information out of her using the Force, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's an interesting Force power.
That is. That
'Cause
is.
even
Also, the interesting Force power to stop a laser blast in the air.
Right, and then
That
just
was
walk
cool.
away from it and then let it go
I
later.
thought he was going to use it.
To kill, I thought he was gonna kill
Like
Poe
where
with
he
his own
holds it
blaster.
there. He holds it there.
I thought he was going to like do the Darth Vader thing where he absorbs it in his hand, but he
Yeah.
just stops it.
Just stops it.
And it's just chilling in it in the midair. That's nuts.
And I love how the whole movie was just so incredible because Poe's just walking by. He's like being held by the thing, but he's like, he's like looking at it as he goes by, like,
You guys like not gonna talk about this? Or?
like, do you guys see this normally? Do you not see what just happened here? But no, that's incredible. So Kylo Ren, great villain.
Yeah.
I feel like we can understand who he is.
Oh, did you like how he used
a way.
the cross guard on his lightsaber to screw up Finn's
To
shoulder
burn him?
when he was like locked in? I was like, oh, okay, that could be
Yeah.
useful, I guess.
That kind of answers the question of why would you even have that? It can't block anything. It's while you're in the hole. Yep.
Yeah. So that could work.
just explained
but that
that
could also
without
work
using
against you too if you're like, being pushed back if somebody's more powerful
You
than
can
you
use
are.
it against yourself too. That's very true.
True.
All right, moving on. Finn.
Finn? Nice.
What do you guys think about Finn?
So I don't know if he's force sensitive or not. Because they
That
never
is
really.
certainly the question.
Because hell, he can use a lightsaber. That's for sure.
Well, he was also a stormtrooper, and they
Right.
trained him in
Was.
hand-to-hand combat.
yeah,
they did.
So he
So
kind of
that,
already knew.
that's
what
how
to
that's
do.
explained.
But I just wonder
feel
if
the
he'll-
line with him and Maz Kanata,
Yeah.
where he's like, "I need a weapon," and she's, "You have one," and it's like, okay, quit buttering him up. It's a little thick. You're like, "Oh yeah, I got a weapon," and it's like, okay,
Right.
and it's I get it for the audience. It's supposed to be like, "Oh, he's gonna use it," but he's already trained with it. Why wouldn't he just go like, "Oh yeah, this is a weapon"?
Yeah, in that scene in particular, he wasn't very good at using it. He was better at using it later, but
Yes.
I think that's just because he got more used to it. But I'm just wondering, like, if he'll end up training with Luke, or if he'll just kind of be like Han Solo 2.
The way that I think he's being set up is more. I think that Luke and Daisy, Luke and Rey are going to do their own thing together, and him and Poe are going to do their own
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
But they're going to be together
Like,
for a lot of it. So
Right.
he's obviously very interested in the Force. I loved the part where
And Rey.
he's with what's that?
and Ray.
Did I say Daisy again?
No. I said he's interested in Ray too.
Oh yes,
There's
that
obviously
too.
a connection.
Every
there.
time they start running,
he's
he
obvi-
grabs our hand.
Yeah. Why are
Stop
you
grabbing
doing
my
that?
hand. That was so great. But there was also the scene where he's about to enter the Millennium Falcon, and Han's like, "Well, where do you think we're gonna go?" And he's like, "I don't know. The Force will guide us."
And he's like,
Homage to the
Yeah.
prequels, and Han just goes,
That's
"I
not how
don't
the
think it
Force
works
works."
that way." I love it.
he just
And
doesn't have a
he's
plan.
obviously very interested in it.
That's
and
such
he's
a Han
this-
Solo move, though, is to just go in and be like watching the base and be like, "So what's the plan?" I don't know.
right.
I don't know.
Where they
I'll
leave
talk
her-
my way out of it.
I love how Han finally has figured out how the Force works. Like, he finally gets
Yeah.
on Finn for, like, that's not how it works. I
not
figured
how it
that out the hard way.
I'm pretty sure that's not how it works.
Right. But I think Finn as a character is certainly very interesting. We know that there are still at least 2 lightsabers existing in the universe, both having belonged to Luke.
And so, Finn isn't a clone,
No.
but
No.
he's
Did you-
genetically enhanced, though.
Yes.
I think we both thought of the same thing.
Yeah.
but-
Yes.
So go ahead.
So if I forgot what they were talking about, but Kylo Ren was yelling at the General
Yeah, he
Hux.
must-
General
Which is-
Phasma. Captain Phasma.
He says
I
we
thought.
might
Yeah.
as well use clones.
Yeah. like, so they've got this genetically enhanced academy where they're training stormtroopers, and so I think that was either a nod or kind of like a foreshadowing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something in the next movie. Maybe they'll
People
create
have
a
also been
giant
saying that Hux
army.
himself might be a clone of Admiral Tarkin
That could be.
because he kind of looks like him.
That could.
And
I
that
could
whole
see
that whole speech and when he's doing it for like all the First Order dudes, that was pretty, very.
It's a pretty good speech.
Yeah.
Almost got me convinced, and then I'm like, oh no, I hate
Oh
these
wait,
guys.
wait. This is bad guy.
Also, I think along with Matthew's point is when he was talking about that threatening to use clones, I think that was General Hux's idea to essentially take babies, brainwash them from birth, and then make them stormtroopers. He says there'll be a lot more loyal than clones that just
Yeah.
follow orders
When they're
without
talking
question.
about Finn, when they're trying to track him down, you can see them like pull up information, and they have like child photos of him like growing up.
Yeah.
The entire way. So I think he's literally been with them since he's a baby.
Moving on, I want to talk a little bit. I know it's not a character. Two non-character characters, because let's be real, the Millennium Falcon is
That's
a
a
character in this. The lightsaber is a character.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of setting the lightsaber up as the One Ring, but we're going to set that aside for now.
Yeah. I can
Let's
see it.
talk right now about the Millennium Falcon's introduction.
Badass. Of course, it's just sitting in some junkyard.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
The second they're running, she's like, "Oh, it's just a piece of junk." I'm like, "Oh, there we
which
go."
one
It's
it
a
is.
piece of garbage.
I almost got offended.
That one got me. I didn't. I'm like, oh yeah, why would? As they're running, I'm thinking, oh yeah, why would they want to use
I
a piece
also
of
like how
garbage?
Finn struggles to use the mounted gun. He's like, "What the hell? This is weird."
He sits down and then turns it and goes kink,
Whoa.
kink, and then he's like, what? That's it? That was a very good scene. But the introduction of the Millennium Falcon could not have been better. Not only that, she's crashing into everything as it's taking off.
Oh yeah.
I love how it's so old, but it's still so durable to like drag along the ground for like a mile and
then just be like,
nothing's
fine."
wrong.
Right.
And also fly through an
Crash
old
into
Star
everything.
Destroyer somehow.
Fly through an old Star Destroyer while destroying two state-of-the-art TIE fighters, which we actually learned from the previous scene with Poe flying one that they're actually pretty good to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually very maneuverable and
Well,
everything else.
I think that they've upgraded all their stuff.
I think
First
they
Order
did.
has.
They definitely upgraded the TIE fighter to a two-seater.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's two-seater, and I think it also now has a hyperdrive, which would mean that
That's what
like
it
it
looks
can
like.
travel by itself.
That's what it
instead
looks
of
like.
having to be.
You mean it's not a long-range fighter anymore?
No,
have
it
been.
is a
long
long
range.
range.
It is a long-range
No,
fighter.
well,
not a short
I'm
range.
trying to bring back episode
The
4.
Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi.
Oh, that's not a long-range fighter. Must have been part of a convoy or something. Anyway, TIE fighters upgraded. Millennium Falcon getting used the way it should be used, I think.
Oh yes.
Coming out of light speed in the atmosphere, going
That was a
into light
ballsy
speed
move.
from a hangar.
That
I
was
mean,
pretty
come
great.
on.
I don't even understand how that worked, but it was awesome.
Well, I
I-
opened the door and then...
I think like the Millennium Falcon is like the equivalent of Han Solo, like old, beat up, but still like very capable of doing some damage.
There you go. I like that. Pull up. I am pulling up. That was very good. All right, on to the
Han and Chewie
lightsaber.
dialogue on point too.
No,
Yeah, that was amazing.
that was
And also,
very good.
like when Han and Rey are in the
Oh, you're
cockpit, and she
cold?
just reaches out, pulls the thing out. He's like, "That worked."
Got
What?
rid of the compressor. Back to the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Now, personally, I don't like that they're setting up as the lightsaber has its own will.
Well,
What did you guys think
okay,
about
so-
think about the vision? Now, I had an interesting story with that, where they were talking with Maz Kanata, and I think, wow, I really have to go to the bathroom. I thought it was a great time to go. I missed the
wrong.
whole flashback. I don't even know what happened.
You missed a lot.
Yeah.
I know I missed a lot because that's
they show,
all
like,
my
little
group was
snippets of
talking about.
everything.
Yeah. So I'm going to see it again on Wednesday. So
Yeah,
I'll
I'm definitely
I'll be
gonna see
able.
it
I
again,
definitely
too.
won't be leaving that for that
You're
part.
going just for that scene.
No, I was already planning on going,
So,
but
if you so the new canon books that are part of the storyline, there is a Jedi Master named Quinlan Voss in the old Jedi Order, and he has
Okay.
this ability called like forced object sensitivity or something, where like if he touches an object, he can learn its entire history and where it's been and who's touched it and all this stuff just through the Force.
So that's already an established thing.
I think that's a Force power that Rey has. So I think that's why she had that connection. I don't think necessarily it's
sense.
the lightsaber, but it also just demonstrates how powerful she is in the Force.
And that's where I was going to go with that as well, where it's not so much the lightsaber that is remembering. It is, I mean, think about that one specific lightsaber. It's been through everything.
And she didn't tell her where she got it, because that's my whole thing, is because that's the one that was in his hand when Luke got it cut off.
Here's my just kind
how
of
did she
whole
get that?
overarching thing about this new movie is we had the prequels where they explained everything. Right?
Yeah.
We didn't like it. We don't want them explaining everything.
I do need some explanation, though.
But wait, there will be explanation. But
Next
like
one.
Yoda says, you need to be patient.
Yeah,
You need to be patient. There are 2 more movies coming out.
true.
And I guarantee those things will be explained. We'll see more flashbacks as she learns. As she trains with Luke and all the other things. He's going to... There it is again. And he's going to tell her stories of things that happened.
Right.
Like my complaint from
I think
before,
she'll probably build her own
Obi-Wan will
lightsaber,
come out
too.
in the next movie.
I think she'll probably build her own lightsaber, too.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think
'cause-
we'll have a new color,
yeah,
just for
that'd be
fun.
cool.
Just because?
Yo,
Yeah.
if it's like purple or pink or something, feminists are going to go off their rocker.
Oh yeah.
Just so
Although
Which means
Mace
it
Windu.
can't be any of those colors.
Right, so I...
Even though Mace Windu is the last one, they have a purple lightsaber. But we're just going to ignore that.
I don't know. I think that Rey is like super powerful in the Force, and I think it's because she's Luke's daughter. And I think it was interesting that Han gave basically the exact same speech to Rey about coming on and helping in the Millennium Falcon as Han gives to Luke like in Episode 4. I don't know if you remember
That
that,
is true.
when he's like, "Come on, kid! Like you're good in a fight.
You're
like,
good
we
in a
can-"
fight. Like, why don't you?
Yeah,
we
like
could
we could
you.
use exactly. He gives basically almost the exact same speech to Rey.
You're
So
offering me a job?
exactly.
Yes. Well, let's go to a break. We'll come back and we will
I want to talk
wrap
about
it
Snoke.
up. Absolutely. All right. The Other Things podcast is produced in open... Oh, that's a good thing we took a break. The Other Things podcast is produced at Open Box Strategies in Brookfield, Wisconsin. Open Box Strategies is a website design, video production, and online marketing firm that delivers fixed-fee, value-based creative projects and never for an hourly fee. Jumpstart your marketing today. Call 262-825-6993 or visit openboxstrategies.com. And we're back. Brock, you wanted to talk about Supreme Leader Snoke. You have some interesting
Supreme Leader
insight
Snoke.
into Supreme Leader Snoke.
So at first, when I saw Snoke, like we were talking about this before, when you first see Snoke, he's huge.
He's
You
huge.
find out later it's a hollow production, so he's probably not that actually big.
Well, we're going after the same thing when Vader had this communication with Darth Sidious
And he
the
had that
first
huge
time, and
face.
he had this huge face.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what they're trying to invoke right
so
here.
because
But
of that, I
continue.
kind of thought that he might be like Palpatine because his face is all screwed up. Maybe he like somehow, or maybe he's a failed clone of Palpatine. But then, like we were talking about before, Kylo Ren says he is wise.
He is wise.
And when he said that, I was like, Plagueis the Wise, which is Sidious's original
Plagueis
master,
the
who was supposed to have the ability to, like, negate death, to live forever. And Plagueis was also not a human, and Snoke doesn't appear to be human. If he is a human, he's really screwed up. So I think that might be Plagueis. That
You
that
think
would make sense. And the whole name for his organization, the First Order, that he was like the first Sith Order.
That's true.
So I don't, or at least the original one before Palpatine. So I don't know. It's interesting. They didn't talk about him as a character very much, but I think that he's going to play a major role. And obviously, he's the one who's in charge of training, the Sith
Yes.
that are
Yes.
that are in existence still. So, and I guess he's also the one who corrupted Ben, aka Kylo.
Yes. Yes.
So-
He's obviously the one training him to how
Right.
to use the Force.
Right. So I think that there might be more Sith too, other than just Kylo. I think there are.
But always two there are.
Yeah, but I think he might have trained because what's the name of the actor who's confirmed to play a villain in 8?
I don't
remember what his name is, but I think he might be another Sith.
Okay.
Who knows?
Okay.
But
I really like the whole Darth Plagueis theory because it is still a theory at this point. Pretty much all but confirmed.
And he was the
through this.
leader of a banking clan, which would make him have a lot of money.
Was that the banking clan that signed their treaty?
Maybe.
Anyway, I really like this because throughout the prequels and throughout the original trilogy, Darth Sidious was just way too cocky to be, oh, it's just as I've foreseen it. Oh, it's always been as I've foreseen it. It's like, have you really foreseen it, or is someone manipulating you to see it? And especially in his speech with Anakin in Episode 3 where he's talking about Darth Plagueis, and he says, this is ironic, he could save others from death but not himself. And when you're listening to that, you're almost going, he saved himself. And he's hiding it from you.
He could be.
And he's going to just wait until you're gone and then pick up the rest.
Yeah, it's also an old, theme where, the Emperor, had another body that he transferred his consciousness to, like a clone of himself, that kind of idea. So Play just could have done something like that as a short-term solution, but now
Right.
he's kind of figured out, a better way to, have an actual body. But I'm not sure. That's the character I want to know more about, and that's one of the reasons I
We
have more
have seen
questions.
Jedi live on. Essentially beat death.
Force
If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. And Obi-Wan, Yoda,
Anakin.
technically,
Darth
even
Vader.
though I think we're just throwing that out. But we've seen Jedi come back essentially from death. Now, the Sith would probably have a very similar ability. And if they could continue on the dark side, why not re-inhabit their
Right.
old bodies? You know,
Who knows?
it's kind of a cheat of death, which is
I
what,
think this is a really good transition to talking about a character that we want to talk about.
now that we're talking about death.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And
Okay.
about Obi-Wan sacrificing himself.
All right.
Han
So
Solo totally did the same
big
thing.
one of the big reveals in this movie is yes, Han Solo did die.
Yeah,
It's not
they did.
not like Jon Snow's death. He is dead.
Yeah, he's definitely.
He's not coming back.
He fell into a giant
Yes.
thing that blew
Yes.
up,
Which is another thing is his blaster fell with him.
which is
So
good.
that's very sad.
It is.
I kind of wish that he would have passed that one on to Daisy. I did it again.
Rey.
Ray instead of
Rey's new blaster though has the same handle.
doesn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a mini
All right.
version of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he died. What did you think about that scene?
I thought it was good. It was very reminiscent of the Obi-Wan scene that you were just talking about
Yes.
because he steps out there in view of every character. So Finn and Rey are watching,
And of course, Chewie.
and Chewie, yeah.
Yes.
And so I kind of thought that maybe Ren was gonna go good for 2 seconds, and then
Yes.
obviously that didn't happen.
I could see the whole story arc where Ren tries the light, as he called it, where he does want to reconcile with his father. He does want to try to make peace with his mother, whatever else, and he just doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And then goes even more evil because I've tried that. That's not good enough for me. Now I'm coming back to you and I want you to finish my training. I could see that whole story arc just being incredible, where I tried to redeem myself. It didn't work. It wasn't good enough.
But he killed his own father, so that's pretty bad. So I think that Luke is going to be pissed about that, and that's going to be one of the main reasons he comes out of hiding, is to bring Kylo to justice for killing Han.
Now, just like Darth Vader had to go to Mustafar and kill the Separatist leaders, do you think that was completing Kylo Ren's path to the dark side, killing his own father?
I think it was, because one thing he was talking about was he needs to do something to get over his whole connection with his family.
He knows
Right.
what he has to do.
Yeah,
but
and
he doesn't
Han's
wanna
like,
do
I'll do whatever it takes, and I don't think he realizes that he's. Well, I think
That was
he
that
might-
that
that's
is
what he
what
had
it
to
was.
do was kill him.
Yep.
it. Yeah, Han
Absolutely.
might realize it though, because people have always said he's Force sensitive, and when he looked over at Kylo at the bridge, he kind of looked like, well, might as well go out there.
That's
Like,
that is the whole thing. Is I think that this movie confirmed Han Solo is force sensitive.
slightly at least.
He at least is aware of things that are happening. How else would he have been able to find Daisy right when she awakens?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because the Force Awakening is obviously. Did I say Daisy again?
You said Daisy again.
Maybe I'll call this. That'll be the name of the podcast. Daisy or
Daisy
Ray, not
/
Daisy.
Ray.
It's the actor's name. That's fine. Where how does he find her right as the Force awakens in her, as she begins this transformation to be just this scavenger?
She's
on
already
a
more
desert
powerful than
planet
Luke
to
when Luke didn't have any training too.
absolutely. Yeah, Luke couldn't do the Force trick.
Right.
By the way, did you
That was
find
Daniel
did you
Craig?
find Daniel Craig in the movie?
That was him, the guy who gets force
The
suggested.
Force suggested stormtrooper
That
drops
was
his
Daniel
glass.
who
Craig.
drops his weapon.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so
was
funny.
Daniel Craig.
And I
They
will
said
drop
that
my
they
weapon.
they said they changed his voice obviously to sound like a stormtrooper, but they changed it so that you could still
I could
kind
kinda
of tell
tell.
who it was.
Because I knew that he was supposed to be in the movie, so I was kind of watching. And at first, I thought that he was the guy who yells "traitor" and like whips out that thing to fight Finn. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
okay, yeah.
At first, I thought maybe that was him, but then I was like, well, he just died, so that probably can't be him. So I definitely
Mm-hmm.
kind of heard it in the Force suggestion.
Yes, I remember reading an article
She
where
also
it
pulls
was
the
a.
lightsaber past Kylo Ren. Like that must have taken a lot of Force.
That's
powers.
true. That's true. And that was an incredible scene where she doesn't want anything to do with the Force. She's pushing it away, and then suddenly embraces it and doesn't even realize she's
protect
embracing
Finn.
it
Yeah.
until Kylo Ren says, like, "You were very strong with the Force," and she goes, "Oh, the Force? Well, watch this. Now that I know what this is."
Yeah, she's like, oh.
Oh, that thing that I did to that guy and the other things, and oh, all right. That was a great
She's
noise.
got to know that I think that deep down, her and Luke both know that they're like that she is his daughter.
You think
I
so?
definitely think just from the way that he looks at her. By the way, Luke doesn't even talk, doesn't even say a word. Also, like when she reaches out to him with the lightsaber, he could have just been like, I don't know. He could have said something.
What do you think of that scene? I
thought
talked
it
to
was
Matthew
really
about this
cool.
on the way here, but
It was a good.
she
editing scene.
climbs to the what we assume is the original Jedi Temple. She climbs all the stairs. She gets to the top, finds Luke, and hands him the lightsaber. Now
Kinda,
online,
just,
I've
like,
been hearing
holds it out.
not hands him, but she holds it out.
Yeah.
What do you think she was saying? Was she saying like,
I think
this is yours. Get this away from me. Or
I think she was saying it's time to come
buddy,
back.
hey buddy, quit being sorry for yourself. We got work to do.
I think that's pretty much what she was saying. Is like, hey, you need to take up this blade again because there is some serious shit going down.
Oh,
And
yeah.
your best friend just got murdered, so we need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Need to go do some stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that he like closed himself off from everything because he's afraid that like he was the reason that Kylo got corrupted,
well,
or that he will become corrupted too because he's also related to Darth Vader.
yes.
So I don't know.
The whole time Luke had this internal struggle, and you could especially see it in episode 6 where the Emperor was really working on him to get him to turn to the dark side. Obviously, he didn't,
Yes.
but there was still the struggle within him. He saw the struggle in Vader to turn good, and it was just very small. It was a very small light inside of him, but he was still able to get to it. Luke can feel the little dark side in him, and he doesn't want it to come out. He
Right.
wants to suppress it as much as
Yeah, I wanna
possible,
know
but
about-
yet it's still there.
I want to know more about the Knights of Ren too.
Oh, we'll get there.
I want to.
You just don't want to wait. That's
No,
what it
I
is.
don't.
Yeah. It's gonna be like a year and a half.
That's also an interesting thing. This is the first time.
You missed that whole flashback scene too, and in that the Knights of Ren are present.
Yes.
When they slaughtered like a bunch of the Jedi.
They mention him elsewhere in the movie too,
Mm-hmm.
where Snoke tells him you need to take the Knights of Ren and do something. I can't remember what it was, but that's another thing too, where this movie is the first time since Empire Strikes Back where the Star Wars fan base is left wanting.
Yeah.
We want more. We don't know what's going to happen next. They threw out the canon books. Mm-hmm. And that
Although
was done
there are
very
elements-
on purpose. They're still going to pull elements from each of the books.
And they have already.
And they already have, but they don't want you to know what comes next.
Which is good. I like
And that is a
Yeah.
great thing, is that they want you to keep wanting to come and see the next one. The
and
feeling
that's
you
totally
felt,
episode 4 and 5 formula. For sure. Like he was talking about before, like that's exactly what they did in episode 4 is like left you wanting more and with a lot of unanswered questions.
yeah. And it's the first time since Empire Strikes Back where we've had that. Us here, we've never felt that for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Once we got to the
first
end-
movie I saw in theaters.
the Star Wars
That,
movie.
That
Star
was
Wars
my
Episode
first Star
1.
Wars movie.
I
in
saw
theaters.
2 and
There you
3
go.
in theaters, but like the thing was I kind of already knew what was going to happen at the end of 3.
Oh, yeah.
Because you kind of
Even
know.
in the prequels, we know where the
Yeah.
story ends.
Yeah.
We know where the story ends. This time we don't, and it's the first time since Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
And we've never felt that in our
Also,
lifetimes.
Captain Phasma, well, I don't know if we just wanted to mention that character really quickly.
Sure.
Totally minor role, but
Oh, yeah.
like I think they're trying to make her the-
huge character, minor role. I did a bit of research on that.
people are comparing her to Boba Fett a lot.
I think so too, where he was a huge character, really minor role, especially in the prequels, and they're wanting to make him into more. I think Captain Phasma will come back.
Definitely.
They said J.J. Abrams was talking about that character specifically, and when they cast Gwendolyn Christie, he said, "I'm sorry." He said to her, "I'm sorry. We wrote this role before we knew you were going to be cast for it."
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm sorry." Because he knows he has a great actor in Gwendolyn Christie, and she's really good. We've seen that in Game of Thrones. We've seen that a little bit in The Hunger Games. But really, anywhere where she is, it's a great role. She does a great job. She gets really into
she maybe
it.
had a couple of dozen lines this movie.
Not
Right.
even.
Yeah, not even.
And she only had a few. But even though she's wearing the Chrome Trooper outfit, she just looks great. But ultimately, is just kind of a a weak character in this one. But I think she's going to come back. She's going to get mad. She's going to,
The other thing
take
too,
Oathkeeper and just slash some things up.
the other thing I want to know too is where, because she's linked to Finn because she's like his captain.
Yes.
I want to know where Finn came from, and there's one original trilogy character that was like very missing from this.
Okay.
Billy D. Williams.
Yes.
Lando Calrissian, and I'm wondering if Finn is Lando's son that was taken from him.
That could be.
That could be a thing.
That could be.
It could be a thing.
That could be.
It would also be like, wow, like the only 2 black guys that aren't in the prequels are related. Good job.
I don't know if they want to touch that territory, but I also like that they had a female stormtrooper.
yeah, that's a huge
where
deal.
You couldn't obviously tell by the armor; it all looks the same, but the voice was
yeah, obviously.
a feminine voice. I guess it could have been a high voiced dude, but I don't think that's what they were going for.
I don't think so.
All right, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about Maz Kanata. I think she's a very interesting character.
She dead?
I don't think so.
No.
No?
I
No,
don't
she's
think
not.
she's
No,
dead.
she's not.
No.
What did you think about Maz? She's 1,000
Good.
years old. She says, "I'm no Jedi, but I know the Force."
Right.
She was a very interesting character, I thought, and older than Yoda. When asked if, I think it was J.J. Abrams again, they asked him if Maz ever met Yoda, and he says, "I'm sure they crossed paths," which is the closest to a yes we were going to get from him.
Right.
So what did you think about Maz?
I liked him. Or her. I mean, I thought it was a good character, a good introduction. And she kind of runs like a little like shanty town, like
I like that.
reservoir, a place where people can just chill out.
Mm-hmm.
And that cantina scene was really cool because the cantina music was like super laid back.
Yeah.
So like everybody was just kind of chilling, doing
yeah.
their own
Not
thing.
like the Maz Eisley.
Right, and there was like a ton of new aliens that we had never seen, like those bug aliens. You guys
Yeah.
remember when I
Yeah.
talk about the red
Yeah.
ones? Like I'd never seen anything like that in Star Wars before. So I thought that whole cantina scene was really like, again, reminiscent of Episode 4. But I also think that she obviously knows more than she's letting on because she got that lightsaber from somewhere.
She did.
And she said, that story's for another time. So that's another thing I want to.
That's another time that will be like the next movie
Probably the next
or
movie.
Yeah.
the following.
No, that'll be the next movie.
Yeah. After this movie, the hype for 8 is going to be even bigger.
You
Which
think
is
so?
ridiculous.
Yeah. Which is
Because
even
the hype for
ridiculous.
this one was already so big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the next one's going to be
It was
even bigger.
annoying for me.
Honestly.
So much hype. Oh my gosh.
They started the hype train like 300 days before it came out. Like straight up.
I've already seen countdowns online for
Yeah, I
have.
Star Wars Episode
Yep.
8. It's like 536 more days until Episode 8. And I'm
You're
like,
jeez.
oh, who counted that? Oh, man. But that's, I mean, I'm already looking forward to Episode 8. I'm going to
It'll be
wear
good.
this t-shirt again.
I didn't talk to anybody in the theater who disliked the movie.
I can't find anyone.
Yeah, like, yes, like there's some things that made me sad about it, like mostly Han dying, and also lots of unanswered questions. But like that didn't make it a bad movie. That made it an interesting movie.
That makes you want the next
exactly,
It does.
exactly.
It does. A few more characters to talk about, and since we've already decided to make this a 2-part podcast,
Right.
C-3PO, R2-D2.
C-3PO
What did you
was a
think
lot more
about their
snarky.
roles?
more. Yeah. When Han and Leia have that like awkward tension between them, and all of a
he's just
sudden
like,
C-3PO just pops in.
Hello.
You didn't recognize me because I have a red arm.
We're going to have to get that fixed someday. And it's like, yep,
R2
all right,
R2
clearly
waking
nothing
up
fixed.
was pretty cool.
I thought that was how the movie was going to end.
Yeah,
Because you
just with
see
R2 waking
R2-D2
up.
just sitting there, and he's like, oh, he's in low power mode. And BB-8's like, like right
no.
there. And he's in low power mode, and I'm like, oh, that better not be how they end the movie. Super, like, wide shot, go up on R2-D2,
And have it
slowly,
just, like-
slowly, and then have that little light turn on, and then the head start to turn, and then, like, a little R2-D2 whistle. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I was so hoping they wouldn't do that. I was like,
You're like,
don't do
please,
it.
no.
Please don't do it. And you see R2 there, and you're like, uh-oh.
I
No.
think that Luke will be happy to get R2 back, though. That's for sure.
I think so.
Well,
Why
you
didn't
knew-
R2
you
go
knew
up?
that
He
they
can
had to
fly
find
now.
Luke.
What's
You
that?
knew that they had to find Luke because
He's in
Mark
the-
Hamill's on the bill.
He's on the bill. I know. He could have been like a
Well, he was
stormtrooper or
in
something.
the scene
in the flashback.
In the flashback.
Yeah, but
So
you
if-
don't see his face. You
If
just
that
see
would have been the only
hand.
part when Mark Hamill was in the movie, I would have been even more pissed about it. I'd be like, really? He was in the movie for
We
5
saw that
seconds.
in the trailer. That's all you had?
Really?
Yeah. But overall, the movie was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm actually going to go back to a part since I already have some editing for this. Let's go back to talking about the lightsaber. Now,
The blue one or
the blue one.
Okay.
The blue one.
okay.
Now, Rey finds the lightsaber in Maz's temple. She touches it and has a vision. Okay. I don't know whether they don't have any lightsabers left because we've seen a lot of them. And it seemed like in the prequels, they were just lightsabers run amok everywhere. They had 2 extra just to, just in case they lost them. Here you go. Here's 2 more in episode 2. But it seems like we have a shortage of lightsabers, especially with Kylo Ren's just seems to be a little jerry-rigged. The only other lightsaber we've seen is Anakin's lightsaber. Now, there's 1 other lightsaber 2 other lightsabers that we know are still in
Darth's.
existence. Okay, 3. But we're looking at Obi-Wan's lightsaber because that's the same lightsaber that Obi-Wan used to fight Anakin in episode 3. Vader picked it up. And I think that was still a very intentional choice to have Vader pick it up. We have Vader's lightsaber, and we have Luke's green lightsaber. Yes, he
Luke
did throw
still
it.
has that one.
He threw it away, but I'm still betting he has it. We haven't seen him pick it back up, but we didn't not see him pick it up either. And I'll have to watch episode 6 again to see if it's hanging on his belt, which it very well could. But what do you think about the choice to specifically use Anakin's lightsaber rather than Obi-Wan's?
Like, in addressing the problem with there not being a lot of lightsabers, I know that, like, from the books, lightsabers have a limited power source. So,
Oh, really?
So, eventually, they do run out of battery, quote-unquote, and if you're not a Jedi, you don't know how to disassemble them or repair them.
Really?
So,
Okay.
I think a lot of the lightsabers that were in existence before probably just ran out of battery and
Why-
are just chilling.
Just a challenge on this, and why does Anakin's lightsaber still
See,
work?
that's what I don't know. I don't know. And if it is working, like, is it working at like a
Because-
less capacity than it used to?
Doesn't seem to be.
Or
Maybe Maz
That's
actually
what I
knew
was
how
just
to
gonna
fix
say.
it,
Or Maz knew
and
what she
she's
was
been
doing.
Upkeeping it?
upkeeping it.
Okay, I guess that is a certain possibility. But,
Right. But like,
But that's probably the oldest lightsaber that's been all the way through.
And who knows,
It
the
started
Emperor-
way back in episode 3.
Right.
Sat in a box for, 30 years while Luke grew up. Luke had it. Sat in another box for 30 years.
Was that the
fell
same
from
box,
Cloud
by the
City.
way?
No,
No, the
No.
box was
no,
much
because
larger.
Obi-Wan had it in like a chest.
okay.
It was much
All right.
larger.
I like saw that they were both chests, and I didn't really know if they looked
Okay.
similar or not.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that Rey will definitely make her own.
You think so?
lightsaber. Yeah, that's
right.
like one of
That's
the
like-
main
that's
parts
a
of
rite of
Jedi
passage
training.
as a Jedi.
Exactly, is to make your own lightsaber.
Okay.
So I think that she'll definitely make her own. Oh, I totally just thought of a good lightsaber color for her: yellow.
Oh, yes.
That could be interesting.
Badass.
Yellow? All right.
Yeah, and that's a lightsaber color that's been used before in like video games and stuff
Yes,
like that.
So,
So,
in the Clone Wars,
right,
which is canon
which is canon.
still.
But I don't even think that Luke has a lightsaber anymore.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think he's kept his green
I
one?
think he's distanced himself from all kinds of like violence and combat. I think he's just been like solely focusing on getting in touch with the Force and developing his Force powers.
Okay.
So I don't know if he has a lightsaber or not.
Okay.
Maybe, but if he does, I think he does have the green one.
It would
We can
have to
talk
be
about.
that same one he made. He seems to be a very sentimental dude.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we need to talk about?
I don't know, man. That's just like so much to absorb, and like
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like I definitely need to watch it again to
I
like
think so.
pay attention a little bit more at some key spots. But all I know is that I'm super excited for 8,
Absolutely.
and I want to see how much money they make this weekend because it's gonna be ridiculous.
I did love Han's new choice of weapon with the bowcaster.
Absolutely.
That was hilarious.
The on-screen time with Chewie and Han was just like Han said, Chewie were back home. They were back home together.
Oh yeah.
In that scene when they're like at the snow base and they're about to go in, like Chewbacca or something, he's like, "Oh, you're cold."
Yeah.
You're cold.
Like,
The banter
just-
between
That
them
was very
great.
good.
Right.
That was very good.
Always
Like-
classic.
I've never cheated you before, and Chewie looks at him and was like, "What?"
Yeah, he just like looks at him like, "Come on."
That was very good. The banter between the two of them, it just feels great to be back inside the Star Wars universe again.
I want to know how Han got that big ship that he was using to smuggle all this stuff.
I'm not all that worried about that. He doesn't have the Millennium Falcon.
I know,
I'm
it's
sure
just-
he's got plenty of other ships to use.
Right. Or
He
could-
probably,
like the
he probably
chain of-
swindled someone to get
Yeah.
it.
I like the chain
Wanted to
of losing
game of
ships of stolen. Well, I stole it from this guy. Well, I stole it from this guy. Who stole it from me?
That's the other thing. I think the reason that Lando will be an 8 is because now that Han's dead, I think that Lando's going to come back and like try to take care of his family. You know what I mean?
I could see Poe Dameron or Finn being the new Han Solo.
Okay. Probably more Finn.
That's something that
Finn's
I
got
wanted
the leather
to.
jacket and everything now too.
That's something that I wanted to bring up as well. The use of the first and last names throughout this movie. Whenever someone was talking to Han or about Han, it was always, "Oh, that's Han Solo. Oh, that's Han Solo. Oh, that's Han Solo." And whenever it's Luke Skywalker, it's, "Oh, that's Luke Skywalker. That's Luke Skywalker. That's Luke Skywalker." It's like, okay, we can use some shorthand here.
They're like
Han
household legend
or
names,
Luke
Or
or
Finn,
I know. And
that scene when Finn's trying to figure it out, he's like, "Solo, really Solo,
though. Yeah.
Mr. Solo, Han."
Just called Captain, man.
right.
I don't know. Like
I just
Finn doesn't even have a name.
It felt unnatural. You're right. Finn didn't have a name, but all the original characters were, "Oh, that's Han Solo the Rebel," or "Han Solo the Rebel." No, Han Solo the smuggler.
Yeah.
But it's
the stories
they
are so
used,
muddled.
They used first and last names throughout the whole movie, and it just felt awkward to me. But
I think it adds to the more mythic side of them.
Right.
where they've
Like,
always heard about this
Their
mythical
symbols.
Yeah.
person, Han Solo, who did the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs, 12.
12.
I like how he's
or-
like 14.
That was great. But there were, and yes, I think that does help with the homage to like these are these mythical people where what Luke Skywalker is real. You're actually Han Solo. Where, yes, I feel like it is realistic, but it's also just it's a movie. I don't know how I feel about the first and last name. It just felt awkward to me. Like, okay, I get it. Yes, as the audience, I get yes, that's Han Solo. I got that from the minute he came on screen.
I
Yeah,
just
but
think,
you've seen him before. Like
and they
for
also,
most of the characters,
they never
Okay.
use Finn or Ray's last name, which is totally
Well,
cool.
Well, Finn didn't
doesn't
have a
a
last name.
Right, Finn
Ray-
doesn't even have a name,
but-
technically.
Oh, wait.
Again, did they intentionally not have
I think that's
Ray
what
with
they
a
did,
last
yeah.
name? Where she'll discover
So,
it later.
If Luke is really her dad, man, he really like sentenced her to exactly what he experienced in his teenage life and
Absolutely.
hated. He was
Exactly.
like, I'm just gonna strand you on a dust ball.
Right.
Scavenger world, have fun.
Well, he didn't even have a family.
Right.
Or she didn't have a
she
family.
just-
He did.
Yeah, she's just been chilling there.
Well, I think this will wrap up this podcast for now. Brock and I will continue this, I'm sure, this discussion in podcast to come.
Right, and there's lots of stuff, people talking about stuff on the internet, and lots of cool
Absolutely.
theories flying around. So I'm sure more will come out over the coming weeks.
There's too much to talk about.
Right.
Absolutely.
There's too much.
And like, I don't know when the date is gonna be when it's okay to post spoilery stuff. Like a week from now. Like,
No, you gotta wait like a month.
see, that's what I'm saying.
Gonna say like
I joined a
after-
special page that's like spoilers only, and so only people
Oh,
who
really?
watch the movie have joined the page, and it's really cool. It's just called Star Wars Spoilers on Facebook.
All right.
There's like 1,700 members or whatever, but it's really cool because it's like a place where you can actually talk to other people about what happened in the movie.
It's safe to talk
Get-
about.
Right, exactly.
This is a safe environment.
This is a
We've
safe
all seen
place.
the movie. But man, I was hanging out with some people last night who haven't seen it, and they were talking about Harrison Ford and how even in Episode 5 he wanted to get killed off, and it's like, oh, I bet they'll just keep him on until Episode 9, and I'm going, and they're. Even then, they're talking about how Harrison Ford is engaging with the audience. He's like right in it. He's being a good sport. And it's like he's being a good sport because he died. All right, I got that out. This has been the Other Things Podcast, episode 9. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again very soon. And remember, life is a contact sport.
Sweet.